You see, before we ever talk about habits, before we ever talk about waking up earlier, reading more, exercising, saving money, we have to start somewhere deeper. Discipline does not begin with your alarm clock. It begins with your philosophy, because your philosophy determines your attitude. Your attitude determines your actions, and your actions determine your results. If you don't like your results, don't start by changing your effort. Start by examining your philosophy. Some people say, I just need more motivation. And no, you don't. Motivation is temporary. It comes and goes like the weather. What you need is a stronger belief system, because when your beliefs change, your behavior follows naturally. If deep down you believe that life happens to you, you will always react. If you believe that life responds to you, you will begin to act. And that's where discipline is born. The day you say, I am responsible, everything begins to shift. Not your neighbor, not the government, not your boss, not your past, you. That's not a heavy burden, that's an incredible gift. Because if you're responsible, then you're also powerful. And discipline grows best in the soil of responsibility. You cannot build discipline on excuses. It won't hold. If you say, I didn't wake up early because I was tired, that sounds harmless. But what you're really saying is that your feelings are in charge. And if your feelings are in charge, discipline will never be. Successful people don't eliminate feelings. They simply refuse to let feelings make the final decision. Your philosophy must become stronger than your emotions. When you decide, I do what I said I would do, even when I don't feel like it, you've just laid the foundation of discipline. Now let me tell you something important. Discipline is not punishment. It is not harshness. It is not beating yourself up. Discipline is self-respect in action. When you keep a promise to yourself, your confidence grows. When you break a promise to yourself, your confidence shrinks. And confidence is built or destroyed in private long before it shows in public. So if you want to build discipline, begin by changing how you see yourself. Stop saying, I'm not a disciplined person. That's a dangerous philosophy, because once you label yourself, your behavior will rush to prove you right. Instead say, I am becoming disciplined. That small shift changes everything. Now your actions have a direction. Now your mind begins to look for alignment. Philosophy shapes identity. Identity shapes discipline. If you see yourself as someone who finishes what they start, you will begin finishing things. If you see yourself as someone who quits when it's uncomfortable, you'll find reasons to quit. And here's the beautiful part. You get to choose the philosophy. No one assigns it to you. You can adopt a new one tonight. You can decide, from this day forward, I will act in accordance with the person I intend to become. That decision, that internal shift, is more powerful than any productivity system in the world. Let's go a little deeper. Your philosophy also determines how you interpret difficulty. When something becomes hard, what do you tell yourself? Do you say, this is unfair, or do you say, this is training? One philosophy makes you a victim. The other makes you stronger. The disciplined person sees obstacles as part of the process. They don't complain about resistance. They understand resistance builds strength. Think about it. Muscles grow because of resistance. Character grows because of challenge. Discipline grows because of difficulty. If you expect life to be easy, you'll always be frustrated. But if you expect life to require effort, you'll be prepared. Preparation strengthens discipline, and then there's this. You must value long-term reward over short-term comfort. That's philosophical. That's not tactical. That's not about strategy. That's about what you believe is more important. Do you believe comfort now is more valuable than success later? If so, your choices will reflect that. But if you truly believe that the future can be better than the present, and that your actions today create that future, then discipline becomes logical. Discipline stops feeling like suffering and starts feeling like investment, and investors think differently. They sacrifice now for multiplied returns later. The undisciplined spend their time, the disciplined invest it. The undisciplined spend their energy, the disciplined allocate it. It all goes back to philosophy. If you don't consciously design your philosophy, you will unconsciously absorb one from the world around you. And the world does not reward discipline, it rewards comfort, it rewards distraction, it rewards convenience. You must decide to think differently. You must decide that average is not acceptable. You must decide that your potential is worth protecting. Because, here's the truth, discipline is simply your philosophy lived out daily. When you believe deeply that your future matters, you will guard your time. You will guard your habits, you will guard your standards, and when your standards rise, your discipline rises with them. So don't start by rearranging your schedule. Start by strengthening your beliefs. Decide who you are. Decide what you stand for. Decide what you will no longer tolerate from yourself, because the moment your philosophy changes, your discipline begins to take root. And when your discipline takes root, your life begins to change. Now, once your philosophy begins to shift, once you've decided that you are responsible and that your future matters, the next step is very simple, but not easy. Start small. Most people destroy their discipline before it even has a chance to grow because they try to overhaul their entire life in one weekend. They make dramatic declarations. They set 10 new goals. They promise to wake up at 4 a.m., work out twice a day, read 3 books a week, change their diet, build a business, and become a new person by Monday. And by Thursday, they are exhausted. Discipline does not grow through dramatic gestures. It grows through daily agreements kept with yourself. You don't need a life transformation tonight. You need one decision you will honor tomorrow, because discipline is built in the smallest moments, not the biggest ones. It's built when the alarm rings and you said you would get up. It's built when you said you would read 10 pages and you read 10 pages. It's built when you said you would walk for 20 minutes and you walk for 20 minutes. Small promises kept daily create self-trust. And self-trust is the backbone of discipline. If you cannot trust yourself in small things, you will never trust yourself in big things. You see, success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. That's all it is. It's not magic, it's not mystery, it's repetition, but here's where people get confused. They underestimate the power of small actions because the results are invisible at first. You read 10 pages today, nothing changes. You wake up early once, nothing changes. You save a small amount of money, nothing changes. But do it for a year, everything changes. The slight edge in life comes from consistent, small, positive actions compounded over time. The challenge is this. In the beginning, discipline feels insignificant. It feels like it doesn't matter. And because it doesn't feel dramatic, people abandon it. They're waiting to feel motivated. They're waiting to feel inspired. They're waiting for the right time. Let me tell you something about the right time. The right time is when you decide it is. You don't wait to feel like doing it. You do it because you said you would. That's maturity. That's growth. That's discipline. Start with one habit, just one. Maybe it's waking up 30 minutes earlier. Maybe it's writing 1 page a day. Maybe it's exercising for 15 minutes. Maybe it's turning off your phone for an hour to focus. Don't try to win the whole war in one battle. Win today, and when you win today, protect that win tomorrow. The reason small disciplines are so powerful is because they change your identity slowly and permanently. If you wake up early once, that's an event. If you wake up early for 30 days, that's a shift. If you wake up early for a year, that's who you are. Identity is built through repetition. And once something becomes part of your identity, it no longer requires willpower. It becomes natural. That's why small starts are powerful. They're sustainable. You must make discipline manageable before you make it massive. Let me give you a simple principle. Make it so small you cannot fail. If you want to start reading, don't commit to an hour. Commit to 10 minutes. If you want to start exercising, don't commit to 2 hours. Commit to 20 minutes. If you want to start saving money, don't commit to a fortune. Commit to a percentage. Success is not built on intensity. It's built on consistency. Anyone can be intense for a weekend. Very few can be consistent for years. And discipline loves consistency. You must also learn to track your wins, not to boast, but to build momentum. Momentum is a powerful force. Once you see yourself keeping promises, you begin to expect it from yourself. And expectation raises your standards. Every day you follow through, you strengthen the belief, I am a person who does what I say. That belief changes everything. But let me warn you about something. There will be days you miss. There will be days you slip. The disciplined person is not perfect. The disciplined person recovers quickly. If you miss one day, don't miss two. If you fall once, don't stay down. Perfection is not required. Persistence is, and persistence begins small. Think of a tree. It does not grow overnight. It grows a little each day. You cannot see it happening, but year after year, it becomes strong enough to withstand storms. Your discipline must grow the same way, quietly, daily, steadily. Do not despise small beginnings. They are the foundation of great achievements. You don't build a masterpiece in a day. You lay one brick at a time, and each brick matters, so choose your brick. Choose your one small daily discipline, protect it, repeat it, honor it. And as days turn into weeks and weeks turn into months, you will look back and realize something powerful. You didn't just change your habits. You changed yourself. Small disciplines practiced daily will build a life most people only talk about. Now, as you begin keeping small promises to yourself, as you start building those daily disciplines, something will happen that surprises many people. It will get uncomfortable, and this is where most dreams quietly disappear, because discipline is not just about doing small things consistently. It is about learning to embrace temporary discomfort without retreating. Let's be honest, getting up early when the bed is warm is uncomfortable. Exercising when you feel tired is uncomfortable. Saving money when you want to spend it is uncomfortable. Studying when others are relaxing is uncomfortable, and the mind will always present you with an easier option. It will whisper, skip today, you deserve a break, start again tomorrow. Tomorrow is the favorite word of the undisciplined. But growth does not live in tomorrow. It lives in the decision you make right now. Here is a truth you must accept. Every day you will face a battle between what is easy and what is necessary. Easy now, hard later, hard now, easy later. You cannot escape this choice. You can only decide which pain you prefer. Because make no mistake, there is pain either way. There is the pain of discipline, the effort, the restraint, the focus. And there is the pain of regret, the disappointment, the frustration, the quiet knowledge that you could have done more. One weighs ounces, the other weighs tons. The tragedy is that the pain of discipline is felt immediately, while the pain of regret is delayed. And human nature tends to prioritize the present over the future. That is why discipline requires vision. You must see the future clearly enough that it becomes more real than the temporary discomfort of the present moment. When you understand that today's effort creates tomorrow's freedom, discomfort begins to look different. It no longer feels like punishment. It feels like investment. The disciplined person delays pleasure. Not forever, just long enough to build something valuable. They understand that short-term sacrifice produces long-term gain. But let me tell you something important. Embracing discomfort does not mean being miserable. It means being purposeful. There is a difference between unnecessary suffering and strategic discomfort. Strategic discomfort is choosing the workout that strengthens you, choosing the study session that prepares you, choosing the difficult conversation that clears the air, choosing the savings plan that builds security. It is intentional, and once you see discomfort as a tool rather than an enemy, you stop running from it. You start leaning into it because discomfort is often a sign of growth. Think about it. Muscles burn when they grow. Minds stretch when they learn. Character strengthens when it resists temptation. If everything feels easy, you are probably not expanding. Comfort is pleasant, but it is dangerous when it becomes your priority. If your primary goal is comfort, you will sacrifice growth. If your primary goal is growth, you will accept temporary discomfort. And here is the powerful part. The more often you choose discipline over comfort, the stronger you become. Not just physically, not just financially, but mentally. You build resilience. Resilience is the ability to continue when things are not ideal. And life will rarely be ideal. There will be days when you are tired, days when you are discouraged, days when results are slow. On those days, your feelings will argue with your commitments, and this is where identity matters again. If you see yourself as someone who quits when it's uncomfortable, you will find an exit. But if you see yourself as someone who persists despite discomfort, you will endure. The disciplined life is not about removing difficulty. It is about developing the strength to handle it. You must train yourself to pause when discomfort appears. Instead of reacting immediately, ask yourself, is this pain leading me somewhere valuable? If the answer is yes, endure it. If the answer is no, adjust wisely, but do not confuse inconvenience with impossibility. Many people stop not because they cannot continue, but because they do not want to feel uncomfortable. And yet, everything worthwhile requires a season of discomfort. The athlete endures practice. The entrepreneur endures uncertainty. The student endures study. The leader endures criticism. Greatness requires a higher tolerance for discomfort than average living does. And here is something beautiful. Your tolerance grows with use. The first time you push through resistance, it feels overwhelming. The 10th time, it feels manageable. The 100th time, it feels normal. What once felt hard becomes your standard. That is how discipline transforms you. It expands your capacity. You begin to realize that you are capable of more than you thought. That you can wake up early, that you can finish what you start, that you can stay focused when others drift. And confidence grows not from ease, but from overcoming difficulty. Every time you choose the harder right over the easier wrong, you strengthen your character. You prove to yourself that you are serious about your future, and slowly, something shifts inside you. Discomfort no longer intimidates you. It challenges you. It sharpens you. It prepares you. So when the moment of choice arrives, and it will arrive every single day, remember this: easy now leads to hard later. Hard now leads to easy later. Choose wisely, because the pain of discipline is temporary, but the pain of regret can last a lifetime. Now, after you've strengthened your philosophy, after you've started small and learned to embrace temporary discomfort, something powerful begins to happen. Momentum, and momentum is one of the most underestimated forces in building discipline. You see, discipline is not about intensity. It's about consistency. Anyone can be intense for a day. Anyone can feel inspired after a seminar. Anyone can push hard for a week. But the real test is not what you do occasionally. It's what you do consistently. Consistency is what turns effort into identity. When you repeat the right actions long enough, they stop feeling like effort and start feeling like who you are. That's momentum. It's like pushing a heavy flywheel. In the beginning, it takes enormous effort to move it even an inch. You push and nothing seems to happen. You push again and it barely moves. It feels discouraging. You wonder if it's worth it. But if you keep pushing steadily, consistently, without dramatic stops and starts, something changes. The wheel begins to turn, and once it turns, it becomes easier to keep it moving than it was to start it. That's how discipline works. The first week is hard, the first month is challenging, but by the third month, something shifts. You no longer debate whether to do it, you simply do it. Momentum reduces friction, but here's the mistake people make. They break momentum for small reasons. They skip one day casually. They compromise once without awareness. They tell themselves it doesn't matter, and one small break turns into two, two turns into a week, and suddenly they're back at the beginning, pushing the flywheel all over again. Momentum demands protection. You must treat your daily disciplines as non-negotiable appointments with your future. Not rigidly, not obsessively, but respectfully. When you respect your routines reward you. And the beauty of momentum is that it builds confidence quietly. When you stack small wins day after day, you begin to trust yourself. You begin to expect success from yourself, and expectation changes behavior. If you expect yourself to quit, you will prepare for failure. If you expect yourself to follow through, you will organize your life around success. Momentum strengthens identity. And identity is powerful. When someone offers you something that contradicts who you are, you don't struggle, you decline. If you see yourself as a disciplined person, certain behaviors simply don't fit anymore. You don't skip workouts because that's not who I am. You don't procrastinate endlessly because that's not who I am. You don't abandon goals at the first obstacle because that's not who I am. It's no longer about willpower. It's about alignment, and alignment is easier to maintain than constant decision making. This is why consistency matters more than intensity. Intensity burns bright and fades fast. Consistency glows steadily and builds strength. You don't need to dominate every day. You need to show up every day, even if it's not perfect, even if it's not your best performance, show up. Because momentum is not built by perfection, it is built by persistence. There will be days when your energy is low, days when your motivation is absent, days when progress feels invisible. Those are the days that matter most. Anyone can perform when they feel good. The disciplined perform when they don't, and each time you show up on a difficult day, your momentum strengthens. It's like compound interest. Small deposits made consistently grow into something significant, but if you withdraw too often, the growth stops. Your habits compound, your efforts compound, your character compounds, and over time, people will call you talented or lucky or gifted. But what they won't see are the hundreds of ordinary days where you simply did what you said you would do. That's the secret. Ordinary days handled extraordinarily well. That's momentum. Let me share something important. Momentum works both ways. Positive actions compound, so do negative ones. If you consistently choose comfort over growth, that becomes easier too. If you consistently delay responsibility, that becomes your pattern. So the question is not whether you will build momentum. The question is in which direction, upward or downward, disciplined or distracted, growth or stagnation. You decide with your daily choices, and once upward momentum begins, protect it fiercely, guard your mornings. Guard your focus, guard your standards, guard your circle, because environments either support momentum or sabotage it. Surround yourself with reminders of your commitments. Design your life to make discipline easier and distraction harder. Remove temptations that weaken your consistency. Add systems that reinforce it. Discipline does not require constant heroics. It requires thoughtful structure. Make the right action the easy action, and then repeat it day after day. Week after week, month after month, eventually something remarkable happens. The person who once struggled to stay consistent becomes the person others admire for their steadiness. Not because they are extraordinary, but because they refuse to stop. Momentum transforms effort into excellence. It turns small beginnings into significant results. It turns temporary discipline into permanent character. And when discipline becomes part of your identity, success is no longer a distant dream. It becomes a natural outcome. Stack the days, protect the momentum, and let consistency carry you where motivation never could.